What's up everyone, MK Tom Brady here. In this video, I want to go over something that's really weird about the breakaway system. So we have, in Aftermath, the breakaway system was adjusted slightly. So a couple things happened. One, before Aftermath, there was only one character that had an armor breaking attack, which is Spawn. Obviously, since the launch of Aftermath, we've learned that there are many characters that have an attack that can break armor. But they also changed the way certain attacks interact with the breakaway system in other ways as well, not just for armor breaking. So I'm going to show you. Well, first I have this on breakaway fast, so they break away the fastest timing. So previous to Aftermath, Thunderwave Raiden, he had this Storm Cell move here that you could break away immediately. So the minute the first hit touched, you break away, and Raiden was kind of stuck doing this. So you break away at the first touch, and then as you're getting up, he's still doing this, and he's dead. Now we see, you can't break away, and then he can even, I missed it, you could even dash uppercut there. So you get a stand 4 before you can even move. And then if he wants, he can dash uppercut, fatal blow, etc. And this is really good guaranteed damage. Like end of the round, fatal blow territory, you make a huge mistake, the breakaway system cannot save you. Or you make a huge mistake, you're punished, the breakaway system cannot save you from the guaranteed damage. Whether it be fatal blow or stand for an uppercut. Whatever the optimal for this situation is. Shiva also has something similar. Again, we see you have it set to fast breakaway. So say you make a mistake, she punishes you, right? Or you whiff something, she comes in, she punishes you. Now clearly you can break away of this attack. But notice the breakaway is not instant, which allows Shiva to grab you, and then if she wants, she can go into her armor break attack. And if she wants, she can amplify it, or for near 30%, or if she has the crushing blow on it unused to this point in the fight, she can use it for some big damage. And Shiva also, like Raiden, can use it for these end of the round situations. You make a mistake, right? This launcher into fatal blow. There's no timing behind it, and she gets the guaranteed. This will do 47. And even if you don't break away without any specific timing, so turn it off. No timing is needed. She just does it right away, and it still catches you. So there's no timing needed. You just do it right away. Doesn't matter breakaway or not. It's just completely guaranteed. And again, things like this are a good thing for the game. It's guaranteed damage. You do have the option to break away, so she's not getting whatever her maximum combo is outside of a fatal blow, which is only once per match. So you are escaping the majority of the damage, but she is getting some damage here. She is still getting 25. If she amplifies 30, you might be losing maybe more than that, but she is still able to get some damage off of that here. So you're still able to break away, but she's still able to get some damage off of this. And I think we all agree this is a good thing. This is a good thing to have in the game. And then I want to call your attention to where this doesn't work so well, because it just doesn't happen. This is the weird thing. So a lot of people have said, well, we'll get onto that in a second. So we'll look at the Thunderwave Raiden example. So clearly it was adjusted so that in Thunderwave, if you were to go ahead and, because I'm doing some myth busting here, by the way, in this video as well. In Thunderwave, if you do his Storm Cell launcher, they made it so you can't break away until a certain point. This is not a universal thing, because we have Variation 3 Fujin. Now, obviously, stuff like this puts you airborne, so this is fine. You know, breakaway. You can break away out of the string before that, and you can break away here before the amplify. So you can break away. If I put breakaway set to fast, you can break away out of this. You can break away out of that, right? And you can break away out of this before anything. You know, well, I can do the launcher, but you can break away before the amplify part. So you'll be able to break away. Okay. This is normal in the game, right? Now, obviously, Fujin could go ahead and do something like this for some guaranteed damage, but we all know so can variation too. You're not meant to play these variations like a generic Fujin. This variation was billed to us, and the direct quote in the combat cast was, "This variation baits you into making mistakes, such as jumping, and then that's where he gets, you know, his damage. That's where, you know, so he uses these moves that do no damage, you know, that you can, you know, close, medium, far. So he uses these moves because if you notice, the regular push does no damage. So he uses these moves that do no damage at all. I mean, and then it's 6 crushing blow. He uses 6%. So I want to turn on commands for a second, just because there are a lot of naysayers out there who, for some reason, think that you're trying to hate on the game or manipulate things. So the game looks like, hey, this could be, and this is not even a hating on the game thing. This is just something that I noticed. So full button log on, and now I'm going to have Fujin anti-air a jumping opponent. So we see my timing to amplify this. I have no problem, right? I'm not missing the amplifier. So we agree there's really no specific timing here. Now we're going to set it to breakaway. Ready? You notice I can't even get the amplify out. You know why? Even if I mash it out, I can't get it out. The game doesn't even allow me to get the amplify out. This is because it can't come out. If they break away, they're no longer in the move. They're considered not in the move anymore, hence the amplify cannot come out. So here's a variation that was billed to you as, this variation is going to make you make mistakes like jump and punish you. But when you actually end up jumping, he gets nothing. So in reality, this variation has to make you jump twice to get any damage. And you may not jump again until you get the defensive bar. Anyone who's played this variation or played against it knows it is not easy for this variation to make you make those types of mistakes. So much like Raiden's Storm Cell, you probably shouldn't be able to break out of this until after the super launch part of it, because you'd be able to break off of his jump kick and off of, you know, he has, you know, armor breaking stuff off of this kind of stuff. But for variation 3, which is pretty much predicated on this, and this is your big damage, so when you get this opportunity, you need that damage, that kind of stuff probably needs to be looked at. Now, then we're going to bust a couple of myths here. Well, one big myth. When I showed everybody with Shiva, that string, a lot of people, the first time I went over it, I think on stream, a lot of people were saying, well, that's a generic thing in the game. That's not a Shiva thing. So they said, you know, in the game, in general, and some people have said this, they've adjusted the breakaway timing so that you cannot break away immediately anymore. This is actually false. because this actually grabs you a lot faster than Shiva. Like, you can break away immediately here. This grabs you much faster than Shiva does, and you can break away. So we see that's a complete myth. It's not universally done. They did it that way for Shiva. They did whatever they did for Raiden instead of Fujin, etc. Now you have Thin Ice Sub-Zero here. What does this actually do? 16%. Not even 10. So he takes... Now people say, just do this, right? Okay, they're both unsafe. That's fine. But you want to load the Crushing Blow, right? You want to load the Crushing Blow, and if you have the Crushing Blow loaded, I mean, that's a big thing for Thin Ice. Thin Ice is not exactly the safest variation. And in reality, people say use Avalanche, but if you ever watched my videos on Avalanche, you know that Avalanche gets punished heavily by about 18 to 20 characters in the game. So in reality, Avalanche doesn't even have that kind of degree of safety. But in general, the slide is an extremely risky move. And of course, you should die for this. You're going for a mix. You're wrong. Fine. You should die for that. And the slide, the kind of tool the slide is, it needs to be heavily punishable. What the slide does is very powerful. So when you block it, he needs to die. However, he should be rewarded for his read when he hits it. So, for example, let's go ahead and go to the, put it on normal here. Okay, so. He hits the slide. Now let's say he's got Crushing Blow loaded. It's going to win here, right? So he's going to make the read, and the read is going to win the match. You broke away. Now, some people will say, it's okay, because next time he's not going to have the bar to break away. But let's say you only had one bar. Let's say you only had one bar. How long am I going to have to wait for next time? I took a huge risk, and it paid off, and now I have to wait and hit it again and take another huge risk for my reward. The way Breakaway interacts with certain moves is not based on risk versus reward or what a character does or doesn't need. It just seems to be slapped on there. Why does Shiva get that, but Sub-Zero can't grab with his slide? You know, and it's not even a Sub-Zero thing. It's more than Sub-Zero. There are a lot of instances in which, you know, Liu Kang can't get an Amplify Fly kick, but you can... Shiva gets a launcher. And not trying to say buff Liu Kang, but it's within the breakaway system, right? The breakaway system should work this way. You know, characters that have really good armor breaks don't really deal with this. And then there are some characters who have armor breaks and guaranteed launchers simultaneously. And this is very powerful. And it's fine. I don't think anyone has a problem with this. But it's not dispersed properly. Why can Raiden, Storm Cell, and this is fine, we agree, Storm Cell should be the way it is. But Fujin can't even get the Amplify part out. I mean, even if you just hit the ground and broke away, he can't even get the damage from the Amplify part out. Right? He can't get anything. And this variation of Cyclone is predicated on that type of damage. That's the only way it gets its damage. And yet, the breakaway system robs him of that. People thought that a lot of new people in Aftermath are playing Shiva. And they're doing things like forward 2-1 into air grab, and they say, oh, well, I think they tweaked the breakaway system so that you can't break away right away anymore. This is untrue. They did not tweak the breakaway system. It just interacts differently with different moves. So clearly we see that they can go into the game and individually, character by character, tweak how breakaway interacts with certain attacks. I think this would be a great thing to do. However, they don't do it. And I think that's really the weird thing about the breakaway system. It's individually tweaked in these instances and then universally applied to others, which is just really, really strange. And again, this is not to, I'm not trying to, blow anything up. I'm just trying to say, hey, it would be cool if there were more things along the lines of like how the breakaway interacts with Raiden and Shiva, as opposed to less. And I just want to call attention to that because I thought that was really weird. Thanks for watching, everyone, and stay tuned for more content.